A composer has much in common with a scientist. We both seek to explain the unknown. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. A number of years ago, probably 6 or 8 years ago, I went to Robertson and Sons violin shop here in Albuquerque. And so I went in there because I needed a bow. I do play some violin in the show. And I started talking with a young gentleman, one of the Robertson sons. And I told him what I was doing. Well, I do this show about Einstein, and I need a bow. I play some violin in the show. And he looked at me and he said, you know, we have Einstein's violin here. And I said, what? He said, we have Einstein's violin. We're repairing it. It's going to be auctioned off to benefit a conservatory. Do you want to see it? And I said, yes, I want to see it.
Actor and writer Tom Schuch has a unique relationship to Albert Einstein. He has spent the past 20 years sharing a lesser-known side of the famed physicist on stages throughout North America and India.
I believe it was 2000. I was looking for something to do.
Schuch, who is a veteran of both the stage and screen, stumbled across a script for a one-man show about the life of Einstein, one that goes beyond Nobel Prizes and world-renowned achievements in scientific discovery.
And so you get to know about the human side of Einstein. It's historic, educational in many ways, and for me as an actor, it's comedic, it's dramatic, it's interesting, it's a huge challenge.
Schuch first produced Einstein, a stage portrait in 2001. The show invites the audience into the scientist's home, allowing him to, quote, set the record straight about a variety of topics history might have misunderstood.
It's a very complicated person, which as an actor is very, very interesting to explore.
To portray Einstein, Schuch spent countless hours studying the man's life work, his idiosyncrasies, and his mannerisms.
I watched the video and I watched him watch people. I turned the sound off and watched him watch people. He had a tremendous sense of curiosity and, of course, intelligence, but he liked a good joke, too. So I found out that he was flat-footed, so that told me how I was going to stand and walk. For unit area of the surface of the sphere?
As the star and producer of the show, Schuch invested both time and top dollar to create as real an experience as possible for the audience. He had a custom wig, mustache, and makeup appliances built by professionals from the Santa Fe Opera, appliances he still uses 20 years after they were made.
I knew that the moment I walked out on stage, people would have to believe that they were in the presence of Albert Einstein. Einstein used to do his own repairs on his violin. He would do minor repairs on his violin. So he's actually able to take it apart and change the sound physics of the violin.
In 2016, Schuch found inspiration for writing his own script about the intimate life of Einstein, centered on the scientist's lesser-known passions. In 2019, before the pandemic hit, he premiered Einstein's Violin at Albuquerque's Q-Staff Theater.
The show is kind of formed around his love for music, talks about the physics of music and sound, and there are things in this show that are not addressed in Einstein, a Stage Portrait.
One of them being a child Einstein had out of wedlock with his first wife, Mileva. Tragically, the child passed as an infant and was almost lost to history were it not for letters discovered in the 1980s. Letters that expressed Einstein's heartbreak and longing for the child he was never able to know.
He never met her, but he wrote these love letters to her. I've never met you, but I love you so much.
Having performed Einstein, a Stage Portrait for 20 years, and kicking off tour dates for Einstein's Violin in 2021, Schuch says he is just as passionate about sharing Einstein's secret history now as he was when he first put on the wardrobe. And what keeps him going is the reaction audience members bring, night after night, theater after theater.
I remember there in Lincoln, Nebraska, at the University of Nebraska, I did the show. One of the talkbacks, must have been a middle-aged man, came up to me after the talkback, so I'm sitting there sweating and exhausted on the edge of the stage, and he just walks up to me. He's got tears in his eyes, and it's giving me tears. Anyway, he walked up to me and he said, "You know, Einstein was my father's hero, and now I know why." And so it's moments like that that's what it's about. That's why I love theater.